My sister passed away, leaving me 250 acres of vineyards, 400 head of cattle, and a classic Cadillac. After 8 years of silence, my daughter suddenly appeared in high heels, declaring, "I'm here to help manage everything." But the moment my lawyer walked in with 2 deputies, she quickly backed away, 3 steps in a row. At my sister's funeral, my daughter Vanessa publicly humiliated me. She stood in front of everyone and shouted that I had no right to the 250-acre vineyard, the 400 head of cattle, the vintage Cadillac, or the $1.8 million Lydia Monroe left to me. 8 years ago, Vanessa cut me out of her life because I refused to fund her husband's failing business. That day, she turned her back on me. But this time, in front of 100 witnesses, she tried to erase me again. I froze, caught in the shame, but a new resolve stirred inside me. What came next would make her regret ever underestimating me. I didn't say a word when she called me a parasite. Not when her voice bounced off the high church ceiling. Not when a woman in the front row gasped. Not even when I saw Samuel lower his head in disbelief. I just stood there. My sister's casket was still at the altar, surrounded by lilies and a photograph of her in her garden hat, laughing. Lydia Monroe, owner of a sprawling vineyard, a herd of cattle, a classic Cadillac, and millions in cash, had left it all to me. But that didn't matter to Vanessa. My daughter hadn't spoken to me in 8 years, not since I refused to give her husband $30,000 for a business scheme that was clearly doomed. When I said no, she told me I had failed her as a mother, and then she disappeared. Now, in front of mourners, vineyard workers, and even a reporter like Clara with her discreet camera, Vanessa was staging a public execution. "This woman is not entitled to anything," she yelled. "She doesn't deserve the land. She never helped Aunt Lydia. She doesn't know the first thing about wine or cattle." She didn't stop. Her words hit me like fists. I didn't flinch. I didn't cry. I didn't ask her to stop. Underneath the shame and the heat climbing up my neck, I felt something solid, like armor. It had been growing for years, ever since her father, Richard, had convinced her I was the enemy. And now it was here, fully formed, as Vanessa tried to tear me down. After her outburst, the room fell into a heavy, waiting silence. The priest was speechless. People avoided my gaze. A few offered weak smiles, but most looked away. Samuel, Lydia's vineyard manager of 25 years, stepped beside me. "Let's sit," he whispered, placing a gentle hand on my elbow. But I shook my head. I wanted to feel the sting. Let her finish, I thought. Let her bleed out every last drop of venom. Let everyone hear it. Because the moment she stopped screaming, I knew the silence that followed would belong to me. When the service ended, I stayed behind. I watched the last of the crowd drift out. Vanessa didn't even look at me. She left with her lawyer. No tears, no backward glance at the casket. I walked up to Lydia's photograph and straightened the frame. Her eyes were crinkled in that way they always were when she caught me eating grapes straight off the vine.